In this class, I'm going to show you how to get most out of the red camera. Colourlab has been adapted to improve the performance of red greatly, and here I'd like to give you some tips how you can get the best looks out of the red. If you haven't downloaded test shots already, I would recommend you do so, and you download that red test shot that was provided to you as a part of the training, which is B001 C002. I am just going to go into my timelines, and there I'm going to create new timeline, and I'm going to call this timeline red. Okay, and then I'm going to go and put basically the shot I just mentioned, B001 C005, and I'm going to drag and drop it onto my timeline. Okay, so before we start grading red footage, we have to interpret this red footage in the right way in order for us to get the right effect. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to click onto the settings, and then we're going to click on camera raw. Now in camera raw, you have here raw profile, and then here we're going to click and select red. Okay. Depending on the speed of your system, use full res premium. I always select 16-bit for the best quality, and I always use timecode for camera, and I'm decoding using my project settings. Okay, in terms of the color science, we're going to use version 2, and color space is going to be red wide gamut RGB, and the gamma curve is going to be log 3G10. Okay, so try to remember these settings and try to write them down. So it's red wide gamut RGB and log 3G10. These are the only settings that actually you should be using, that are going to always give you the best possible results. Even if you didn't shoot with those settings, even if you shot with whatever, dragon color, red gamma, when you start creating looks and grading red, these are the settings that you should be using. Okay, then another thing that I do is I also make sure that I use camera metadata for ISO and for color temperature, because I assume that cinematographer was using ISO and a color temperature as a way to set the exposure and so on. So we're going to click on save. So now we got this kind of selected. Okay, then again open a serial node, always on the second node Colourlab. Then we're going to click on the Colourlab and drop it onto the node number 2. So what we need to do is following. We're going to go and select red IPP2. So IPP2 stands for this particular setting. So red wide gamut and log 3G10. As you can see, the input profile has already made some major adjustments to an image. And now I can go, for example, to my contrast option S1. And then I want to just select my palette, which is going to be neutral, and that is going to give me like a very, very nice looking, like a Rec 709 look from red. So this is really the easiest way how to get red to look just very nice and neutral and rich in color, and also correct in color. We will not gonna see any noise or any breaking or anything like that. This really hugely improves the quality of image just out of the box. Now what I do, if I was now to tweak a little bit the look of the red, one tool that I use a lot is actually in RAW. So you have to change it from project to clip inside the RAW settings. And here is a setting called flat. And I absolutely love flat. Okay, sorry, I think this was the ISO should be here. 3200, I think this is what we were using. Very good. Okay, now what flat is really cool, and somehow red always has almost like if you compare it with other cameras, that the neutral point is always a little bit lower than with the other cameras. And what I do is I always correct it by using a little bit flat here, and with flat I can change the exposure in a very good way without ever coming into danger of clipping it. So actually, like if you ever want to like, fix a little bit, the exposure of your shot when you start and your neutral look doesn't quite work, just try to tweak flat a little bit. It will actually going to give you much nicer and better results than if you were to use lift gamma gain to achieve the same effect. So what to do if you don't want to use the red IPP2? If maybe you are working on a project or your camera hasn't been upgraded to the right firmware. So how to deal with red in that case? For that we also have another setting. So I'm going to go into camera raw, and I'm going to use, instead of the red white gamut RGB, I'm going to use Dragon Color 2. And then instead of the gamma curve log 3G10, I'm going to use red log film. Okay, so now this gives me a different setting. So in my camera input, I have to change red without IPP2. And that again, you see, translates exactly that, same look that you created for IPP2, but only this time by using these standard settings. So what you can do now is you can basically just say export LUT, and then this LUT, let's say a red N1, and then this LUT you can load into an OMOD box, which is great, if you want to apply looks directly to the red, or if you have a newer generation of red cameras, you can actually load this lookup table into the red, and that is going to give you a fantastic neutral starting point for you to be able to, check your exposures, what really colors you're getting, and so on.